Okay, Big Show nerds, we've got some news to cover. Today's episode, we're going to be covering a fair amount of ground. We have the Star Wars celebration that just happened, so there's going to be a bit of conversation around all of the things announced there. We also have a new Stranger Things spin-off series that must be talked about because it's not exactly what you're thinking, probably. There's also Street Fighter movie news. That's right, you heard correctly. News on a new Street Fighter movie. Plus, speaking of movies based on games that apparently we're getting, Minecraft and Five Nights at Freddy's both have pretty big updates as far as the movie adaptations of both of those. So stick around for all of that. We've got a bunch more. Let's do the thing. So let's move now into TV shows. We're talking about Bad Batch returning for another season. We've got Ahsoka to talk about, super hype there, as well as some new Stranger Things, and not exactly what you're thinking, I don't think, but that and a bunch more, honestly, so let's get into it. We have some follow-ups, starting things off in follow-ups. We have follow-ups on that Creature Commandos series that was announced when James Gunn gave us the first 10 properties of his new DCU. Creature Commandos, we already have a piece of casting, and that is Ron Perlman is going to be doing a voice, but the new piece is that Frank Grillo is also going to be doing a voice in this series. It is speculated that he's going to be playing Rick Flag Sr., so he's going to be doing the voice of Rick Flag Sr., and potentially, if they do him in live action at some point, Grillo will very likely be playing him in live action, because that is explicitly what James Gunn has said, is they're going to try and keep all of the actors consistent from live action to animation, movies, and TV, all should be the same actor. So that's pretty exciting. Again, it is not confirmed that he's going to be Rick Flag Sr., but it seems pretty logical. Though, I mean, Perlman theoretically could be Rick Flag Sr. given the senior part, but I don't know. I think he might be a little too far gone. So moving next, we gotta talk about Mandalorian. Actually, no, we don't have to talk about Mandalorian. That would be entirely opinion piece, and the opinion stuff gets relegated to the That Just Happened episode, which we will be doing a That Just Happened episode this week, so stay tuned for that, because we really got to talk about The Mandalorian, because I'm getting a little disheartened with this, though there's a smidge of hope, and actually we're going to talk about that smidge of hope in the rumors section, so, stick around. But yeah, Mandalorian is going to be a thing that we talk very heavily about in the That Just Happened this week, so we're not going to touch on it here really at all, aside to say that episode 6 did not decline further in the Nielsen SoundScan ratings, though we are now, for episode 4, 5, and 6, under 1 million hours watched, so under 1 million views, effectively. Under 1 million views. And the final episode of season 2 had I think it was 1.2 million. Where we've seen a 40% dip in the ratings from the end of season 2 until now. It has dropped from 40%. There's a lot of aspects to that, and again, we're going to get into that in the That Just Happened episode. So stay tuned to the channel for that, but let's get into more news. I apologize for the bird walk. Next up is Bad Batch. We have a follow-up on Bad Batch. It has been confirmed that there will, in fact, be a 3rd season of the Bad Batch, but kind of sadly, it is not going to be returning after the 3rd season. 3rd season is going to be the end of the Bad Batch. That is going to get us, I forget what movie that leads us into. I'm sorry, I'm brain farting. Somebody correct, please, somebody correct me, on the socials or down in the comments, depending on where you're listening or watching. But yeah, Bad Batch returning, 3rd season is the end. Next, we have an update on the Welcome to Derry series. This is the It prequel series, we have some more casting here. So adding to the casting, we have Taylor Page, who is from Zola. We have Jovan Adepo from The Watchmen, Chris Chalk from Perry Mason, and James Remar from Dexter. James Remar also played Raiden in the Mortal Kombat Annihilation movie and was also in Sex and the City and has been in entirely too many things because I don't think he's a great actor. But that's not to say this isn't going to be a good series. So the Welcome to Derry series is still moving along nicely. That is what we have for follow-ups. Let's move now into trailers. Like I said, Star Wars Celebration happened, so we've got a couple of those. But right out the gate, we have The Flash to talk about. The Flash, the trailer for one of the final episodes, I believe it's like episode 8 or something. I don't even know. I'm just pulling that number out my ass. But the episode that airs April 26th, whatever episode that is, it's titled It's My Party and I'll Die If I Want To. This one, we get to see the return of Stephen Amell as the Green Arrow, which kind of come in full circle. We didn't necessarily anticipate this, but it is going to be a big team-up episode, according to the trailer. Go watch the trailer. It's pretty hype. I don't know if you're into the CW stuff, but this is probably the cream of the crop when it comes to that stuff. Next, we have Ahsoka. We actually have a freaking trailer for Ahsoka that is exactly what I wanted it to be. And is that Ezra Bridger that we saw in the trailer ever so briefly in a little hollow thing? I think it might be. This just looks so good. It airs in August. We're just going to keep gushing. So let's move on. We also have a trailer for Marvelous Miss Maisel that airs next week, or the end of this week, rather. Marvelous Miss Maisel, final season 5, April 14th. If you have not watched this, I don't know why I didn't put this as the suggestion for the TV streaming section this week, but I didn't. If you have not watched Marvelous Miss Maisel, you really got no time to catch up now. You're just going to be playing catch up all the way through season 5, but it is worth your time. It is hilarious. Continuing right along, we have Secret Invasion trailer that dropped. This one was a little old at this point, so you've probably seen it, but still interesting, raises some questions. Where are they going with this is kind of the big one right there. But yeah, go check out the trailer. We'll have that conversation. And then the other Star Wars trailer that is super hype right now is Visions Chapter 2, or Part 2, Volume 2, sorry. Visions Volume 2, dropping May 4th. So may the 4th be with you. It is dropping on Star Wars Day. May 4th is the day that we get to see some more, we start to see, because they do week to week, but just judging from this trailer, this is going to be pretty awesome. The first Visions season was pretty awesome, so yeah, no reason to think this one won't be. That's what we got for trailers. Let's move into regular ass news. First up is a new Star Trek series that has been announced. Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Co-showrunners and executive producers Alex Kurtzman and Noga Landau are doing this show together. So Kurtzman, kind of a divisive figure in the Star Trek fan base, but I don't know, this one seems interesting. So Star Trek Starfleet Academy is being billed as a, quote, CW style teenage drama. Okay. Sounds like a simple way of describing something that is a little more family oriented, which in the world of Star Trek kind of makes sense, doesn't it? So I don't know, I can get behind the idea. We'll see about the execution, but I can get behind the idea. Next, in regular ass news, we have a new Stranger Things series that has been announced, and this is going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be live action, it's going to be an animated series. According to the Duffer brothers, who do Stranger Things, according to them, it is going to be an animated series in the style of the 80s and early 90s Saturday morning cartoons. So it's going to... What that means, Lord only knows at this point, because that could mean a lot of different things, but theoretically what that means is it's going to be like an action adventure kind of deal, and the subject matter still very much remains to be seen. So once we know a little bit more about it, we will be talking about it, but it is coming. It is a thing that Netflix is producing. So there you go. Next we have, this is probably the biggest and maybe my favorite of the news for this week, and it is Scott Pilgrim. Netflix, speaking of, is doing a Scott Pilgrim animated series as well. This one is going to be obviously a lot more in-depth than the movie ever could have been, because series, but is also bringing back the live-action cast from the movie to do voices for the series. And it's a very large bit of the... So we have Michael Cera, obviously, Scott Pilgrim. Mary Elizabeth Winstead will be returning as Ramona Flowers. We also have Satya Bhabha. I think that's how that's said. Kieran Culkin is going to be returning. Chris Evans, Anna Kendrick, Brie Larson, Alison Pill, Aubrey Plaza, Brandon Routh, Jason Schwartzman, Johnny Simmons, Mark Webber, Mae Whitman, Ellie Wong. Yeah, and I think there were a couple that I didn't quite grab. Either way, original creator of the comic book, Bryan Lee O'Malley, as well as writer BenDavid Grabinski, will be show creators. They're the ones that are putting the idea together. O'Malley himself is going to be the showrunner, so the guy in charge of making every one of the episodes happen. And Edgar Wright, the director of the movie, is going to be executive producing the series. So it's just one big Scott Pilgrim love fest up in there, and who can say no to that? And then we have more news. I know, I probably should have saved that one for the end, but whatever. We have American Horror Story update. Technically not an update because it's a new season. Season 12, they've announced that they will be featuring very heavily, as she's going to be the primary character, Kim Kardashian is going to be primary character in American Horror Story. Yeah? No? Yeah, probably not. Apparently the part was written specifically for her, with her in mind, or whatever. And this might be the first season of American Horror Story I don't watch. Just saying. That's what we got for all of the regular ass news. Let's talk about our suggestion for this week. The reason that I didn't recommend Marvelous Miss Maisel this week for a suggestion is because Succession is in its final season. We're 3 episodes deep as I'm filming this, and it's amazing. I didn't realize that the cutthroat nature of the corporate world could be so compelling. And oh my God, I love this show. If you haven't watched any of it, honestly, start at episode 1, season 1, and you will get sucked in pretty quickly. This one just kind of jumps up and goes. There's no getting used to it or figuring out who these characters are. They tell you who they are repeatedly and in ways that are incredibly entertaining. Speaking of Kieran Culkin, also in this, and probably the best thing about, I don't know, Brian Cox is pretty amazing as well, but just everyone in this cast is surprisingly incredible, and you should watch it. Succession, final season airing now. Oh my God, that's your suggestion for the week. Movie section. Let's talk about some movies, shall we? In today's movie section, we're talking about Minecraft the movie, as well as an update on the Five Nights at Freddy's situation, and Street Fighter. Yes, there is very likely going to be another live-action Street Fighter movie, but by a legitimately good movie development. Let's just talk about this. So, follow-ups and corrections is our first bit. We have a follow-up on the Aquaman Lost Kingdom situation. They bumped up the release date by 5 days. It was going to be coming out on Christmas Day, which is silly. And now it's coming out on the 20th of December, which is much, much better, because then they have a little bit of build-up into the holiday instead of just going, yeah, holiday. So yeah, it's moving from a Monday to a Wednesday, presumably, again, to give them that extra little bit of a weekend, so they're not dealing with the holidays and buyer's remorse and people not wanting to spend money, because that's kind of what happens when you launch on Christmas Day, but I don't know, to each their own, I guess. Also, of note for this is now they're going to be releasing on the same day as the Ghostbusters Afterlife sequel, so could be a little bit of an issue, but We'll see. That's what we got on that one, though. Let's move over to Minecraft. Yes, Minecraft is getting a movie. And not only is Minecraft getting a movie, but Jason Momoa is attached to this movie. And we have a release date for the Minecraft movie. April 4th, 2025 is when they are targeting to release this Minecraft movie. What the hell could they be doing for a Minecraft movie? Something. And we'll keep tabs on it. Moving right along. We now have a release date for the Five Nights at Freddy's movie that we've been keeping tabs on ever since the announcement way back forever ago. And it's not just a theatrical release. This is going to be day and date release, theatrical and streaming. So, in theaters and on Peacock, both on October 27th of this year, 2023, is when you'll be able to watch the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Is this a sign that they are not as confident with this release as they once were? Possibly. But that remains to be seen, so we'll keep in tabs. And then our final follow-up has to do with Joker Folie à Deux, the sequel to the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie with Lady Gaga, so on and so forth. The announcement here is that they have wrapped on principal photography. So very, very likely we'll be moving into post, doing some pickup shots and so on and so forth, maybe doing a couple of reshoots a couple months down the road. But it seems that they are definitely on track. So there's that. That's what we got there. Let's talk about trailers. I kind of did a little short video over on the Clips channel about the Blue Beetle trailer the day after it launched, I believe. And I'm not going to rehash that necessarily, but the Blue Beetle trailer dropped. I'm still pretty hype about this, especially considering that the very controversial line at the end of the trailer is not said by Jaime, but Uncle George, so that's a little bit better. Either way, still kind of hype about this movie. Not quite as hype as I was before the trailer dropped, which sucks, which is kind of the exact opposite of what a trailer's supposed to do, but go watch it for yourself. Let's have that conversation. The next trailer we're talking about is Extraction 2. So Chris Hemsworth, June 16th, Netflix. Those are the things you need to know. Produced by Anthony and Joe Russo. Chris Hemsworth, blah, 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 blah. There was something else in these notes that I needed, whatever. I think this is the modern equivalent of One for Me, One for Them. I think this is the one for them. I don't know what else Hemsworth has been doing necessarily. Maybe it's the Marvel stuff. Maybe the Marvel messaging is the one for him because he believes in such messaging. But the Extraction movies are definitely a very different target audience, and one that seems to be actually spending money on movies. So that's good. But this trailer looks... if you're into modern action films, this is probably going to be one of the best. No exaggeration. This looks pretty hype. Next, we're talking about the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse trailer. Dropping June 2nd is this movie, and this one is doing the thing because really want to know what Spider-Man 2099 has against Miles Morales, because... yeah, definitely intriguing. And so again, this trailer is doing its job. Again, June 2nd is the launch for this, and let's move right along. Next trailer is the Barbie trailer. Okay, so July 19th, we're talking about this one, not because it's necessarily nerdy, but generally speaking, why is nobody talking about the marketing for this movie? It's pretty inflammatory. Really inflammatory. This is are we trying to start himbo typecast? I don't Oh, but yeah, Barbie's a thing, and it's going to be very divisive. That's what we're saying there. Let's move right along. Let's get in some regular-ass news. First up, again, this one's a little bit older because it's been 2 weeks since we talked about the news. Moana, The Rock, has announced that he's going to be the driving force behind a live-action Moana adaptation, which is silly for so many reasons, not the least of which being they only just made Moana in the scheme of Disney, because Disney generally only remakes a movie when they're about to lose their copyright on it, when they're about to lose their whatever the rights are. I can't think of the words, but yeah, when that's about to lapse, they release another version of the movie, or they do a remaster of the movie or something along those lines, so they can maintain their rights. And 10 years is not at all a short or a long enough amount of time for that to be an issue. So I think this one is a little bit tone deaf on The Rock's part, but and no, it's not just me, because a lot of the fan base is also saying similar things. So yeah, that's no bueno. All right, so now we're moving into Star Wars Celebration, the big noteworthy things as far as movies go from the Star Wars Celebration. We have the announcement of three new movies, one of which has been heavily rumored for some time, and the other one kind of has as well, one of the others as well. So first up, we have the big one that's been rumored for some time is the Rey movie. We've been talking about these rumors for a while. As the rumors started to progress, I started to raise the likelihood that we're going to be seeing a Rey-centric movie. Honestly, don't think I ever really doubted this, but now we have official confirmation that there is in fact going to be a Rey movie, and the speculation here is that Rey is going to be rebuilding the Jedi Order in her image, which is a little divisive, but they could fix it, they could make it better. I'm gonna just go with most of the fan base and say, we'll see when it happens. But then the next one is the other one that's been kind of rumored for some time, and that is the Dave Filoni Star Wars movie. The reason I say it that way is because it's been rumored that Dave Filoni is going to be in charge of everything for some time, because that's what the fan base really wants. They want Kathleen Kennedy out of there, and they want Filoni to be the guy in charge of everything. Well, this is almost a consolation prize, because it's a movie, and potentially a movie could evolve into a trilogy. But I think the kind of downer piece to this, or the little bit not so much great, is that it is going to be an extension of the Mandalorian universe that he's created, the side of the corner of the universe rather that he's playing in, that focuses rather heavily on the Mandalorians. That's what the movie is going to be based around as well. So a little bit of a different kind of Star Wars, still probably going to be good because Dave Filoni, but yeah, see our Mandalorian discussion later this week to see why I have a little bit of trepidation around that. And then the third one is going to be a movie helmed by James Mangold. The James Mangold movie is going to be set in the past, at the dawn of the Jedi, which sounds pretty awesome. Not gonna lie. That's all we really know about these movies so far, so that's all we can talk about. But let's move on. Speaking of James Mangold, we now have confirmation that the Swamp Thing movie is supposed to be happening, and James Mangold is going to be the one directing. Is going to be a horror comic book movie adaptation. We also have the confirmation that not only is he writing, he's also directing, and that goes double for the Star Wars movie that he's doing as well. He's also going to be writing, directing that. That's pretty awesome. Let's move right along. Our final piece of regular ass news has to do with Street Fighter. The rights to make movies and stuff based on the Street Fighter IP has been kind of all over the place. We got those, what was the Chun-Li one that was garbage, and then I think there was another live action one that went straight to streaming. And then the Raul Julia, Jean-Claude Van Damme one that happened in the 90s that was huge for not great reasons. Yeah, it's been just kind of everywhere. But the rights for TV and movie series, or TV series and movies, I guess I should say, has recently been purchased by Legendary Pictures. Legendary Pictures has put out some pretty epic stuff, not the least of which Godzilla, Batman, the Christopher Nolan Batman, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, just this has the makings of potentially being a very good thing. What with, you know, Super Mario Brothers doing so incredibly, like, beyond anyone's expectations. Mortal Kombat a couple years ago doing pretty well as well. The sequel lining up to be doing much, much better. Just gaming movies are going a little nuts right now, and in good ways. And then you have The Last of Us, the series on HBO Max, just fantastic all over the place. So, Legendary making a at the very least, just a Street Fighter movie. I'm on board. Let's do this. That's what we got, like I said, for regular ass news. So let's talk about suggestions in movies this week, and we're going really old school, 1967 old school. We're talking about The Jungle Book, the OG Jungle Book, before they started doing live action reimaginings, before any of this stuff, man. This is just good old fashioned great fun, some great music. Maybe it hasn't aged as well as it possibly could have, but it is still a slice of history and an incredible piece of art. Go watch The Jungle Book to have a little bit of fun with the family this week. So that only leaves the rumor mill. We have no confirmations or refutations per se. I mean, we did have the Rey announcement for the Star Wars things, and so Rey's getting a movie, and we've talked about those rumors, and so that's kind of a confirmation, but no real heavy, like, oh my god, this is actually a thing. So we're going to jump right into news sources. We have a news source on the Harry Potter situation. This one is Bloomberg, so it's pretty big. But we have new word that the Harry Potter series over on HBO Max is nearing completion. At least not the production of the series, but the contracts to make the series happen are nearing signatures, is the way this is being sold. So HBO Max, we talked about this for a month. The kind of new developments in this rumor are that J.K. Rowling is going to be in charge. She's going to be an executive producer with final creative say on any creative decisions. So that's pretty significant. Also, each season of this series, if it does come to fruition, is going to focus on a book, which means we're going to get much more depth from the books in this live action iteration. It is also, goes without saying, it's also going to be a brand new cast because, you know, starting from little kids again. So that's that rumor. To follow up on the rumor, I guess. The other one we have is Superman Legacy. We have another rumor saying that James Gunn is going to be looking for a much younger actor, presumably in his early, at the oldest, mid-20s, to be playing Kal-El, Superman. Yeah. We don't really do, for news sources, we don't really do percentages, but both of these are coming from pretty solid sources. And actually, the Superman one is coming from like 2 or 3 pretty solid sources. So there you go. All right, so new rumors. Let's talk about new rumors. We have 2 Mandalorian rumors. We're going to start the first one. Pedro Pascal, and therefore Din Djarin, is rumored to be exiting the series of The Mandalorian as of the end of season 3. The rumor goes on to imply that maybe there's going to be Din Djarin death at the end of season 3, or maybe the character is just going to abandon the story, if you will, leaving potentially, if they go that second route, leaving potentially the option for him to return if he, you know, really wants that Disney money, which most actors do, I would imagine. So 50% likelihood on this. I was unable to get anyone else to substantiate this, but I don't know, it's kind of been floating around to a certain degree, what with the onset issues with Pedro from season 2. Just seems like this kind of sort of falls in line with that, but again, not substantiated by anyone else as of yet. So can't go all the way, it can't go very high at all. We're going halfway through because it could go either way at this point. The other Mandalorian rumor that we have is that episode 7, which is airing, you know, this week, episode 7 is reportedly going to tie into the Ahsoka series and very possibly introduce Grand Admiral Thrawn. This might be what this season needs. Again, there's a whole conversation over on That Just Happened that we're going to have that needs to be had about this, but right now, for the sake of this point, I feel like yeah, if that's the direction this is going, if we're setting up a grand battle in episode 8, but also we're going to be introducing Ahsoka and Grand Admiral Thrawn in episode 7, like this is very potentially going to end strong. The middle got a little wonky there for a while, but the ending sounds like it's going to be pretty strong. So I'm giving this one a 60% likelihood, because we know that Ahsoka, Disney does this. Disney ties in other series into current series so they can keep you hooked, or theoretically keep you hooked going further and further into other series. And we know that Grand Admiral Thrawn's going to be, because he was in the Ahsoka trailer, so that's, you know, all of these things starting to line up. So yeah, we're going 60%. That's pretty conservative, but I think it's appropriate. Our next rumor has to do with some gaming stuff. We got Halo Infinite Season 4 rumors. We have 5 helmets, 1 new glove set, 6 shoulder pieces, and 3 knee pads for the Yaorai armor core throughout the course of Season 4. So I'm on board for that. This comes from a super reliable source. Like, so reliable, I'm going to be very surprised if there's not at least that and potentially more coming for the Yaorai core, because Yaorai is kind of my favorite. That's the one that I play the most. You know, you would know that if you joined us on the live shows, because the second half of most of the live shows is game time, and I've been playing a fair amount of Halo on stream recently. So yeah, so 90% likely that these Halo Infinite rumors are to be believed, because. And that, Big Show Nerds, is the end of the episode. If you want to go deeper into comics, if you want to go deeper into nerd culture, if you want to go deeper into just the pop culture news, join me on my personal YouTube channel, Generally Nerdy. While you're here, though, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share on all of the Big Show Entertainment Media platforms, and tune in next time for all that's happening across the nerd world.